Hi everybody, welcome to At Home with Gigi. I'm Gwen. Thank you so much for being here today. I am so excited about today's video. I am participating in the Napkin Exchange Challenge hosted by Sarah over at Sunflower and DIY, and I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But we had our names drawn by Sarah, and then we had to send a package of napkins to the person that we received their name, and mine came from Jackie at JackieBurnsCreations. Thank you so much, Jackie, for these napkins. They are just absolutely beautiful. And we have 3 napkins that we designated that they must use in a challenge. And look, Jackie sent me a sweet little note that said, "Love and peace, have fun," and I did have fun. A couple of little bumps and bobbles, but that's all right. That's part of crafting. But just look at the 3 that she sent me to use. It's these sweet little turtles, sea turtles, that I had so much fun using. And then also the ladybugs, and guys, I can't wait to show you what I created. And then the napkin that had the little orange daisies, and they were just so precious. And then she sent me all these other beautiful napkins, and guys, it's just so sweet of her to do that. Thank you again, Jackie. I truly appreciate it. Now let's get started and see what I have created. For this DIY, we're going to use this little jar sign from the Dollar Tree, some of these Scrabble tiles that came from Amazon, and of course the gorgeous little napkin with the ladybugs. And I had intended to use the Waverly chalk paint in Ballet, but when I opened it up, it had completely dried out, so I ended up using some paint from Apple Barrel. I just went ahead and removed the jute twine. As you can see, it's coming off anyway. I've had this in my stash for quite some time, so I just removed that. And I'm going to go ahead and sand off all those letters and the little raised surfaces on there, because it's got glitter and all that good stuff that, you know, signs from Dollar Tree always has. So I'm just giving it a real good sanding and just making a nice and smooth surface. I did go ahead and remove that metal plate so I wouldn't get paint on it, and I mixed together the cameo pink and the, I believe it was blush pink from Apple Barrel, and you can pick that up at Walmart. And I mixed my plaster of Paris. Y'all know I love to do that. I just mixed it together until it was really smooth, and then I gave it one solid coat. Then I went back in and gave it another coat because I wanted really full coverage. If you use the plaster of Paris, it'll give it the consistency of a chalk paint, and I love to use it, and it is more economical sometimes. As I was telling you earlier, I am a part of the Napkin Exchange Challenge this month, and it's hosted by Sarah at Sunflowers and DIY, and this month her co-host is Buffie over at Buffie Designs. I will have their channels as well as the playlist all linked down in my description box, so make sure you click on that description box, and please go check out everybody's videos, and make sure you tell them I said hello. And if you are here from the playlist, hi, welcome, thank you for being here. After I let my paint dry completely, I'm just going in and putting down a good layer of the Mod Podge. And I have learned a couple of new techniques from watching the last challenge, so I thought I would try it out here. Some of them worked out, some of them did not, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But anyway, I put down a really good layer, smoothed it out, let that dry completely before we move on to the next step. Sometimes your napkin's going to have 2 or 3 layers, so just make sure you pull all those extra layers apart. And what I'm doing here, I'm just using a piece of wax paper on top of my napkin to press out all the wrinkles. And I'm just lining it up on top of my little jar. I was hoping to use those little sparkly hearts, but it just wasn't big enough, but that's okay. I'm going to try to find another purpose for that at a later time. And this is just a little travel size iron that I've had for forever from Walmart, and I'm just putting another sheet of wax paper on top and then just pressing out slowly, and it reactivates that dried Mod Podge to make your napkin stick to the surface. And this is one of the techniques I learned from watching some of the other ladies in the previous challenge, and oh my gosh, y'all, I just was super stoked I love the outcome of this. I'm just checking to make sure it's completely attached. You have to make sure it's covered really well with the Mod Podge. You see how excited I am? I was so happy. And look how smooth and just beautiful. I love it. I love it. I was so happy. I'm just using my sanding block and just going around the edges and just sanding off all that extra napkin that was left over. Y'all, we are currently on vacation while I'm doing this voiceover and all my editing, so I'm sorry for any bumps and bobbles. We're at my daughter's and I am, because it is 5 o'clock in the morning and everybody's sleeping, and I am in the laundry room doing the voiceover so I don't wake anybody up. And the little metal plate was just too bright for me, so I just mixed together some elephant gray, jet black, and I believe it was granite gray from Apple Barrel. Just kind of mixed it together and took a piece of sponge and just mixed it together, and I'm just dabbing it over that little metal plate so it's just not so bright and shiny. Just kind of giving it a faux weathered look. I'm just going to wrap some twine around the top of the jar again and just make a cute little bow real quick and attach that back to the top of the jar. And I should have put the metal plate back in place first before I added both pieces in, but I did not. Sometimes you just don't think, you're in a hurry trying to get your DIYs finished, and adding some hot glue along the top there and just adding my metal plate back in place. As you can see, I dropped it, but I was able to pick it up and just slide it back into place and smooth it down. I'm just going to use hot glue again. You can always use E6000, or my preference is the Gorilla Glue, the gel Gorilla Glue, because it doesn't smell as bad as the E6000. But I'm just using hot glue, and they are staying in place just fine. And I'm just putting the word Love Bug on the front of my little jar sign, and I thought it turned out so sweet. Wait, I got one more thing I'm going to add to it, and I just thought it was just the perfect little touch. And I'm just adding in these cute little ladybugs that came from Amazon, and you get several different sizes in the pack, and I think it is just so sweet. Y'all gotta tell me what you think. So this DIY is going to end up looking different than how we started, because I had a couple of mistakes and I left those in here so you can kind of see not what to do. And everything you see laying here came from the Dollar Tree except for the napkin. That's the napkin that I have to use in this challenge, and I only had one. So I had to make do with what I had left over of the napkin. Put my Mod Podge down, and I thought I had pulled all the plies off the back of the napkin. That's my first mistake. It was 3 ply, not 2, so there's still a ply on there. And you know what happens when you don't get them all off, right? Okay. But I still don't know that yet. So I'm just put the Mod Podge down, smoothing the napkin out. I'm just going to cut away the excess. And then I'm going to use the new little trick of burning away the excess napkin. Should have tried this first before with a different napkin, since I only had one. Guys, this is plastic, not the faux wood, not the MDF, not wood. It's plastic. You know what happens when you have plastic and fire, right? Yeah, it melted. You can't really tell very much here, but it melted. And with it having that extra ply up under there, the napkin did not really stick to my surface, so it just kept puffing up, and parts of it burnt away. So I let it set for a while. I went back, and went over the top with some more Mod Podge, thinking maybe that might help. Nope, all I did was just smear black all over my little sign. So here we are with my crate with a little piece of napkin that's left over, just lining that up best I can, adding a very thin layer of Mod Podge, and then I'm just going to attach my napkin to the front of the crate. I don't want to tear my napkin because this is all I have left except for one more little tiny piece. I just used that cling wrap and just smoothed it out really well, and then I wanted to push that napkin carefully into those crevices just to give it a little more detail. Then I'm just using my handy dandy nail file and going around and filing off all the excess napkin. So y'all know when I buy anything, I buy them in sets of 3, which is lucky that I did because I had another one of these little plaques, window frames, I'm not sure what you call them. Anyway, took the sign off the front, and then I'm just going to attach my crate to it. I did not cover it, I did not paint it, anything. I just left it as it is and attached it with some Gorilla Hot Glue. I'm just taking greenery that I had left over from a couple of previous projects, some flowers from a project from last year, and just popping them into my little box. Guys, I just want to say thank you so very much. I have hit my 500 subscriber mark. Actually, I'm over, so thank you. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for all your support and for coming back and watching my videos. I truly, truly appreciate you more than I can ever say. These little white fuzzy balls, those came from Michael's. I picked those up last year when they were having like their 70-90% off. And I thought they were just so cute and just gave this box just a little extra something. And these stickers came from the Dollar Tree. Aren't they gorgeous? They are just so beautiful. And I wanted a little extra something to go on the front of my box. So I decided to use the Forever. And then it is a 2-piece. I'm just lining it up there as best I can. I had to call the honey in and get him to make sure that I'm lined up because, y'all, I was struggling. I've been working really late at night or very, very early in the morning trying to get these projects filmed before I go on vacation. As I said, I am on vacation at my daughter's house, and I'm doing the voiceover in her laundry room so as not to wake everybody up in the house. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to get a video out, right? But I think it just turned out really, really cute and adorable, and even with all the bumps and bobbles I had. But as we all know, when you craft, that's just part of the process. But comment down below and let me know what were some of your disasters that you had to overcome when making a project. For this DIY, we're going to be using this long sign that came from the Dollar Tree from last fall, a variety of paint. I did not use all of those colors. I only used about 2, maybe 3 of them. And then also we're going to use the napkin, of course, that Jackie sent, the awesome little sea turtles. The 3 letters HME, those came from Walmart, and then the sand dollar and the starfish came from the Dollar Tree nautical section this year. And I have both of them there because I could not decide which one I wanted to use as the O, but you'll see what I ended up using in a few minutes. I'm going to start by removing this top layer of the sign. As you can see, it's coming up very easily. How I didn't realize it was just barely on there when I bought it, but anyway, who knows? But it's just held on right in the center with a little dot of glue, so I just very carefully removed it because I'm going to try to reuse that maybe in some of my fall decorating. I just gave it a little light sanding to make sure it's nice and smooth, and then I'm going to give it 2 good coats of the Waverly White chalk paint and let that dry completely. I'm just going to be using some white acrylic paint from Apple Barrel and then the cobalt blue from Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to mix it together. I want to start with a really light blue at the top of my sign and then just gradually get darker and darker. I want it to look like the sky, and then it's just fading into the water below. Guys, this is completely out of my comfort zone. I have never tried to create something like this, so gotta tell me what you think. Does it look like it's just gradually fading into water, into the ocean, I should say? I'm sure my technique is not what it's supposed to be. Like I said, this is just completely outside of my comfort zone. But I just wanted to go for it and just see what happened. And I'm just adding in more and more of the darker blue as I'm going down, because again, I want the bottom part to look like that's the ocean. And you can see I'm using just a tiny bit of water to help smooth out my paint, because it was like 95 degrees whenever I was painting this, and I had the ceiling fan on and it just kept drying out my paint. I was just using just a tiny bit of the water to help smooth it out and just help blend out my paint. Guys, I am absolutely not an expert, so please bear with me as I'm learning how to do this, because again, I am just stepping outside my comfort zone. But I had an idea in my head of how I wanted my home sign to look, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try it, and we're just going to see what happens. And I am attempting to make my water look like it's waves moving. Not sure if I accomplished that, but anyway, I had fun, I enjoyed it, and to me, that is what matters whenever you are making a craft or just doing anything. You just gotta have some fun. And I'm just doing what's called, I believe it's a fussy cut. I never can say that right, but just going around and cutting out my turtles, because I did not want to just put the whole piece of napkin on my letters. If that's what you want to do, that's fine, because some people just do not have the patience or the time to do this. And I tell you what, it was a little time consuming, but I feel that it was just so worth it. I love these letters that came from Walmart. I picked these up last summer, I believe it was. And they were already distressed, so I didn't have to do anything with them, and they were less than $2 a piece. I want to say they were like $1.49, something like that. So to me, it was well worth it. I just put down a thin layer of Mod Podge and then placed my turtle over the Mod Podge and just patted it into place, and then just used some saran wrap and then just smooth the napkin out, and that really will help you not tear your napkin. Just using hot glue to place my letters in the sand dollars. You can see I went with the sand dollar. The honey said he thought that that looked best, and you were right. It absolutely looked a lot better than the starfish, and I just used hot glue to attach my letters. You can use E6000, or like I said, I love the Gorilla gel glue. To me, it just works so much better. I'm just using some jute string around each end of the sign just to give it just a little extra layer. If you wanted to make this look really rustic and distressed, you could always go around and sand the edges and just add a little bit of antiquing wax. but I liked it just the way it is, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I just love how my little home sign turned out. I think it's just perfect for me. I've really enjoyed this challenge. Thank you, Sarah and Buffy, for hosting it. Thank you if you're here from the playlist. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you'll smash that subscribe and like button. And I will see you next time. Bye.